Before we begin, it is crucial to state that the information in this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as and shall not be understood or construed as professional medical or psychological advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or another qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have seen in this video. You wake up. It's 6:03 a.m. The alarm isn't just a sound, it's an assault. And before your feet even hit the floor, before the caffeine has a chance to work its magic, the feeling is already there. It's not sadness, not exactly. It's heavy. A low-grade hum of anxiety in your chest. A fog in your brain that makes the day's to-do list feel less like a plan and more like a mountain you have to climb with weights tied to your ankles. You think about the emails waiting, the meeting at 10, the bills on the counter, the pressure to perform, to provide, to just keep up. And you tell yourself the same thing you said yesterday: just get through today. If that sounds even vaguely familiar, you are not alone. Not by a long shot. That feeling, that constant grinding state of just getting by instead of truly living, has become a silent epidemic in America. We live in the land of opportunity, the home of the hustle, the nation that perfected the art of striving. But somewhere along the way, we forgot to teach ourselves how to cope with the immense pressure that comes with it. We're told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but nobody tells us what to do when we can't even find the boots. The statistics are staggering. Over 50 million American adults are living with a mental health condition. That's 1 in every 5 of us. And the number of people reporting symptoms of anxiety and depression has skyrocketed. We are more connected than ever, yet we feel more isolated. We have more conveniences, yet we are more overwhelmed. We've become experts at managing our careers, our finances, and our family schedules, but we are often complete amateurs when it comes to managing the single most important asset we have: our own minds. This is where that changes. This series is not another vague lecture on self-care that tells you to just take a bubble bath or go on a $5,000 wellness retreat. This is different. This is the American Guide to Mental Wellness. It's a practical, no-nonsense, strategic roadmap designed for the realities of modern American life. This is for the person juggling a job, a family, and a dream. This is for the student drowning in deadlines, the entrepreneur burning the midnight oil, and the parent who feels like they're running on empty. Over the next 10 parts, we are going to dismantle the myth that mental wellness is some complicated, unattainable goal. It's not. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. We're not going to ask you to overhaul your entire life overnight. We're going to focus on small steps that create a big impact. We're going to give you a toolkit, not a rulebook, filled with actionable strategies you can implement today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life to build a stronger, more resilient, and more peaceful mind. The goal isn't to eliminate stress or to never have a bad day again. The goal is to build a foundation so strong that when the storms of life hit, and they will hit, you don't just survive. You stand firm. So where do we start? We don't start with meditation apps or gratitude journals or expensive therapy. We start with something far more fundamental. We start by building what I call the architecture of awareness. Think about it like this. If your car starts making a weird noise, you don't just immediately start replacing parts at random. You pop the hood, you listen, you diagnose. You gather data. If a CEO wants to improve a company's performance, they don't just start firing people. They look at the numbers. They study the quarterly reports, identify the bottlenecks, and understand the system before they try to change it. We do this in every other area of our lives. We track our finances, our fitness, our business metrics. But when it comes to our own internal world, our thoughts, our emotions, our stress levels, we mostly just wing it. We ignore the check engine light in our own head until the engine completely seizes. The architecture of awareness is the simple, foundational practice of becoming a neutral observer of your own mind. It's about learning to collect data on your internal state without immediately judging it, fixing it, or running from it. It's the first, most critical step because you cannot solve a problem that you do not understand. You can't navigate to a new destination if you don't know where you are on the map. Awareness is your "you are here." Most of us live in a state of reaction. A stressful email comes in and our heart starts pounding. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and we're instantly filled with rage. We feel a pang of anxiety, so we immediately grab our phone and start scrolling to numb it out. We're puppets and our emotions are pulling the strings. Building awareness is how you cut those strings. It's the pause between a trigger and your reaction. In that pause, you find your power. You find your freedom to choose how you respond, rather than being a slave to your automatic impulses. So how do we build this? Here is your first small step. This is your only homework until the next part, and it will take you exactly 2 minutes. I call it the 2-minute mental check-in. It's incredibly simple, and that's why it's so powerful. Sometime today, maybe at your desk before lunch, in your car before you drive home, or right before you go to sleep, I want you to set a timer for 2 minutes. Close your eyes if you can, and just ask yourself 3 questions. Don't analyze the answers. Don't judge them. Just notice them. Like a scientist observing a specimen. Question 1. How does my body feel right now? Just do a quick scan. Is there tension in your shoulders? A knot in your stomach? Is your breathing shallow or deep? Are your hands cold? Is your jaw clenched? Just notice. You're not trying to relax the tension, just acknowledge that it's there. That's it. You're collecting data. Question 2. What is my dominant emotion right now? Give it a name. Is it frustration? Contentment? Boredom? Anxiety? Excitement? Be specific. Don't just say good or bad. Try to find the precise word. If you feel a mix of things, just pick the one that feels the strongest. Again, you're not trying to change the emotion. The goal is not to feel happy. The goal is to get good at feeling whatever you're feeling. To simply name it is to take power over it. And question 3, what is one thought that is taking up space in my mind? Just one. Maybe it's a worry about a future event. Maybe it's replaying a conversation from yesterday. Maybe it's a line from a song stuck in your head. Whatever it is, just identify it. Hold it up, look at it, and acknowledge its presence without getting swept away by it. That's it. 2 minutes. 3 questions. Physical sensation, emotional state, and a dominant thought. By doing this, you are practicing the fundamental skill of separating yourself from your internal experience. You are learning that you are not your tension. You are not your anxiety. You are not your looping thoughts. You are the one who is aware of all those things. This small gap you create is the beginning of mental freedom. This simple 2-minute practice is the bedrock upon which we will build everything else in this series. It's the foundation for managing stress, improving focus, building better relationships, and sleeping more deeply. Because once you start consistently collecting this data, once you become aware of your own patterns, you gain the ability to intentionally and strategically change them. You stop living on autopilot and you finally take the driver's seat. And you are going to be shocked at what this data reveals. You'll start to see how that third cup of coffee really affects your anxiety levels, or how checking work email right before bed is directly connected to the tension in your shoulders. You'll start to see the patterns. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. And that's when real change begins. And in our next part, we are going to take this newfound awareness and apply it to the single biggest drain on American mental energy: the nightly war we wage against our own sleep. It's a battle that plays out in millions of American bedrooms every single night. The lights are off, the house is quiet, but your mind is a Las Vegas casino at 2 a.m. It's loud, it's chaotic, and the odds are stacked against you. You replay conversations from work. You draft emails in your head. You worry about bills, about your kids, about that weird noise the car was making. You glance at the clock. 11:37 p.m. You do some quick panic math. If I fall asleep right now, I can get 6 hours. Okay, not great, but manageable. You close your eyes tighter, as if squeezing them shut will somehow squeeze the thoughts out of your brain. It doesn't work. You roll over. You adjust the pillow. You feel a phantom itch on your back. You glance at the clock again. 12:19 a.m. The panic starts to curdle into despair. Now you're not just worrying about tomorrow, you're worrying about being tired while you worry about tomorrow. Sound familiar? This isn't a personal failing. This is a cultural epidemic. In the United States, we've glorified the grind so much that we've come to see sleep as a weakness, a luxury, a necessary evil to be minimized. We brag about running on 5 hours. We chug coffee and energy drinks to power through the afternoon slump. We answer emails at midnight to prove our dedication. We've been sold a lie, that success is forged in the hours we steal from our rest. But what if I told you that this nightly war is the single most destructive, self-sabotaging thing you can do for your mental health? What if the secret to being sharper, more creative, more resilient, and less anxious wasn't about grinding harder, but about resting smarter? Because here is the fundamental truth. Sleep is not an off switch. Your brain doesn't just go dark. It's when your mind's janitorial staff comes on duty. Imagine your brain is a busy city office building during the day. Papers are flying, phones are ringing, meetings are happening. It's productive, but it's messy. By the end of the day, the trash cans are overflowing. There are coffee cup rings on the desks, and the whole place is in disarray. That's your brain after a day of thinking, feeling, and processing. When you go into deep sleep, an incredible thing happens. A cleanup crew floods your brain. They take out the trash, literally clearing out metabolic waste products that build up during the day, including the very proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. They file away the important memories, deciding what to keep from the day and what to discard. They repair and restore the circuits. They are essentially resetting the entire system for peak performance the next morning. When you consistently cut that cleaning process short, you're basically telling the janitors to go home halfway through the job. The trash starts piling up. The files get disorganized. The system starts to lag. This isn't just a metaphor. This is physiology. That brain fog you feel after a bad night? That's the leftover trash. That emotional hair trigger, where the slightest annoyance makes you want to scream. That's your emotional regulation center. The amygdala, running wild because it hasn't been properly reset. The anxiety that feels 10 times worse at night? It's because the logical, rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is effectively offline from exhaustion. So how do we sign a peace treaty in this nightly war? The answer isn't in expensive gadgets or prescription pills. It's in small, almost insultingly simple steps. We're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for progress. The first step is to create a psychological runway for sleep. You wouldn't expect a 747 to land on a dime. It needs a long, clear runway to slow down and touch the ground safely. Your brain is the same way. We spend our entire day staring at screens that blast our eyes with stimulating blue light, scrolling through emotionally charged news, and working our minds into a frenzy. Then we turn off the TV, put our phone on the nightstand, and expect our brain to just stop. It's like slamming on the brakes at 100 miles per hour. It's jarring and ineffective. So here is your first small step. The 30-minute runway. 30 minutes before your target bedtime, all screens go off. No phone, no laptop, no TV. I know I can feel the collective anxiety from here. But what do? You do something analog. You read a real physical book. Not a thriller, something gentle. You listen to calm music or a boring podcast. You do some light stretching. You take a warm shower. You journal, getting all those racing thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper where they can't hurt you. The specific activity doesn't matter as much as the principle. You are signaling to your brain that the chaos of the day is over. You are intentionally downshifting. It's not about forcing sleep. It's about inviting it. The second step is to become a master of your environment. Your brain has a clock, a master clock, that's been finely tuned by millions of years of evolution to respond to two primary signals: light and temperature. We've spent the last century completely messing with those signals. We live in perpetually lit, climate-controlled boxes. To sleep better, we need to recreate the primal cues our bodies are desperate for. Think like a caveman. Your sleep sanctuary should be three things: cool, dark, and quiet. Cool. Your body's core temperature needs to drop slightly to initiate and maintain sleep. The ideal temperature for most people is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Try turning your thermostat down just 1 or 2 degrees tonight. It's a tiny change that can have a massive impact. Dark. Light is the most powerful signal to your brain that it's time to be awake. Even a small amount of light from a street lamp, a digital clock, or a charging indicator can disrupt the production of melatonin, your key sleep hormone. You don't need to spend a fortune on blackout curtains. A simple, comfortable $10 sleep mask can create perfect darkness. Cover that alarm clock. Move your charging phone to another room. Make your room as dark as you possibly can. And finally, the third step, and this one might be the most powerful of all. It doesn't even happen at night. It happens the moment you wake up. Your entire 24-hour sleep-wake cycle, your circadian rhythm, is anchored by one thing: the timing of your first exposure to bright light in the morning. For most of us, that first light is the dim glow of our phone screen as we scroll in bed, followed by the artificial lights of our bathroom and kitchen. This is a weak, confusing signal for your brain. Here is the small step with the biggest impact. Within the first 30 minutes of waking up, go outside and get 5 to 10 minutes of direct, natural sunlight in your eyes. Don't stare at the sun, obviously, but don't wear sunglasses. Just face in the general direction of the sun and let that light hit your retinas. Even on a cloudy day, the light outside is exponentially more powerful than your indoor lighting. This simple act does something amazing. It hits a giant start button on your brain's master clock. It says, "The day has officially begun." It shuts off any lingering melatonin production, boosts cortisol and alertness for the day, and most importantly, it starts a countdown timer. By getting that bright light signal at say 7 a.m., your brain knows that in about 14 to 16 hours, it needs to start getting ready for sleep again. You are literally programming your brain today for a better night's sleep tonight. A 30-minute runway, a cool dark room, and 10 minutes of morning sun. That's it. That's the foundation. None of this is extreme. None of it costs money. But it is a radical act of self-respect. It's a declaration that your mental and physical health are not negotiable. It's about trading the false badge of honor that comes with exhaustion for the quiet, profound power of being truly rested. The war on sleep is a war you can only lose. The only winning move is to stop fighting, to surrender to the biological necessity that underpins all of our waking moments. Because once we stop pouring our mental energy out of this giant hole called sleep deprivation, we can finally start to focus on what we're putting in. And what we choose to fuel our newly rested minds with, the food we eat, the information we consume, the way we move our bodies, is the next critical piece of the puzzle. Think of your brain as a high-performance engine, a finely tuned, incredibly complex machine that powers everything you do, think, and feel. Now, after fixing the critical issue of sleep, we've essentially taken that engine out of the red zone. It's no longer overheating from exhaustion. But an engine, no matter how well rested, can't run on empty. And it certainly can't run well on low-grade fuel. What we put into our system is just as important as the rest we give it. This isn't just about food. It's about everything we consume, the nutrients from our plates, the information from our screens, and even the way we use energy through movement. Let's start with the most tangible fuel, food. For decades, we've been told to eat right, for our physical health, for our hearts, our weight, our waistlines. But the most profound connection, the one we're only just beginning to truly appreciate, is the one between our gut and our brain. This isn't some new age theory. It's hard science. It's called the gut-brain axis, a superhighway of communication between the two. And here's the mind-blowing part. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, and this gut microbiome is like a second brain. In fact, it's responsible for producing around 95% of your body's serotonin. Let me repeat that. 95% of the primary neurotransmitter responsible for your mood, your feelings of well-being and happiness, isn't made in your brain. It's made in your gut. So when you feel irritable, anxious, or foggy, your first thought might be that it's all in your head, but it might actually be in your stomach. The standard American diet, often heavy in processed foods, refined sugars, and unhealthy fats, is like pouring sludge into that high-performance engine. It creates inflammation and disrupts the delicate balance of your gut bacteria, which in turn directly impacts serotonin production. That afternoon slump you feel after a sugary lunch? That's not just a food coma. It's a neurological event. The sugar spike and subsequent crash mimics the symptoms of anxiety and depression, leaving you feeling jittery, then drained and flat. The solution isn't to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's a recipe for failure. The secret is in small, almost unnoticeable upgrades. The principle is simple. Add the good stuff before you worry about taking away the bad. Don't start by saying, "I'm never eating a donut again." Instead, ask yourself, how can I add one thing to my breakfast that will fuel my brain? Maybe it's a handful of blueberries, which are packed with antioxidants that protect the brain. Maybe it's a few walnuts, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are literally the building blocks of brain cells. For lunch, don't just get the sad beige sandwich. Add a side of dark leafy greens like spinach. The goal is to crowd out the bad with the good. Over time, your body and your brain will start to crave the high-quality fuel, and the desire for the junk will naturally diminish. It's not about deprivation, it's about nourishment. But the fuel we consume isn't just physical. In the 21st century, we are consuming information at a rate unprecedented in human history. And just like with food, there's a huge difference between high-quality information and junk information. Our digital diet has a direct, measurable impact on our mental wellness. Think about it. Your social media feed is a buffet. And right now, many of us are living on a diet of outrage, comparison, and highlight reels. We scroll through curated images of perfect vacations, perfect bodies, and perfect families, and wonder why our own messy, complicated, and beautifully imperfect lives don't measure up. This constant comparison is a thief of joy. It's like eating candy for every meal. It feels good for a second, then leaves you empty and sick. Simultaneously, we're plugged into a 24/7 news cycle that is engineered to trigger our fight-or-flight response. Fear and outrage generate clicks. The problem is, our brains aren't designed to process every tragedy and crisis happening on the entire planet in real time. This constant barrage of negative information keeps our nervous systems in a low-grade state of chronic stress, flooding our bodies with cortisol, the stress hormone, which over time is toxic to our mental and physical health. We are what we eat, and we are also what we scroll. So, how do we fix our digital diet? Again, small steps. First, curate your feed with the same care you would your refrigerator. Unfollow or mute accounts that consistently make you feel anxious, envious, or angry. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. Actively seek out and follow accounts that inspire you, teach you something new, or simply make you laugh. Second, stop grazing. Instead of picking up your phone every 3 minutes, schedule your consumption. Maybe you check social media for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. This puts you back in control. Third, practice news hygiene. Choose 1 or 2 trusted sources and check them once a day. You'll stay informed without being inundated. This isn't about being ignorant. It's about being intentional. It's about switching from a diet of digital junk food to one that truly nourishes your mind. Finally, let's talk about the third type of fuel, movement. We've been conditioned to think of exercise as a chore, something you have to do at a gym for an hour in special clothes. And that mindset is the biggest barrier to getting started. So let's reframe it. Let's call it movement. And let's understand what it's actually doing for our brain. When you move your body, and it can be as simple as a brisk walk, your brain releases a cocktail of incredible chemicals. You get a rush of endorphins, which are natural mood elevators. You get a drop in cortisol, and you get a surge of something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. The best way to think of BDNF is its miracle grow for your brain. It helps grow new neurons, strengthens existing ones, and protects them from stress. It literally makes your brain healthier, more resilient, and better at learning and memory. Movement is the most underutilized antidepressant and anti-anxiety tool we have. When you feel that wave of anxiety or that fog of depression rolling in, the instinct is often to freeze, to curl up and do nothing. But movement is the antidote. It's a pattern interrupt. It tells your nervous system, hey, we're not in danger. We can move. We are capable. It gets you out of your head and back into your body. The key is to detach movement from the goal of weight loss or athletic performance and attach it to the immediate goal of feeling better right now. The bar for entry is on the floor. Literally. Feeling stuck at your desk? Stand up and do 10 squats. Feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list? Put on your favorite song and dance in your living room for 3 minutes. Feeling irritable? Walk around the block. That's it. You don't need a destination. The walk is the destination. The small act of choosing to move your body is a powerful declaration of control. It's a way of telling yourself that you are not passive in the face of your feelings. You are an active participant in your own well-being. These 3 pillars, food, information, and movement, are not separate. They are deeply interconnected. When you eat better, you have more energy to move. When you move, you're less likely to sit and doom scroll. When you manage your information intake, you reduce the stress that can lead to emotional eating. It's a powerful upward spiral. By making small, intentional choices about what we put into our bodies and our minds, we're not just fueling our engine for the day. We're rebuilding it piece by piece into something stronger, more resilient, and capable of taking us wherever we want to go. And this foundation of physical and digital nourishment sets the stage for our next challenge, confronting the single most powerful force that shapes our reality, our own thoughts. Our thoughts are the architects of our world. They build our prisons and they forge our keys. Think about the last time you had an awkward conversation. How many times did you replay it in your mind? 10 times? 50? Each time, that inner voice, that relentless narrator, probably got a little bit meaner, a little more critical. Why did you say that? You sounded so stupid. They probably think you're a complete idiot. This voice, it's like a heckler sitting in the balcony of your mind. It has a lifetime pass, a megaphone, and an uncanny ability to know exactly which buttons to push. And for most of our lives, we've been taught to do one of 2 things with this heckler. Either believe everything it says is gospel truth, or try to scream over it with forced positivity. Both are recipes for exhaustion. Let's be clear. That heckler isn't you. It's a pattern, a deeply worn groove in your brain, carved out by years of repetition, old experiences, and maybe even things other people said to you long ago that you accidentally adopted as your own inner monologue. Your brain, in its endless quest for efficiency, loves these grooves. It's easier to ski down a well-worn path than to carve a new one through fresh powder. So when a stressful situation happens, your brain doesn't innovate. It defaults. It slides right back into that familiar negative track because it's the path of least resistance. The heckler grabs the mic because it's the only one who's been practicing. This is why the advice to just be positive often feels so hollow, and can even backfire. When you're genuinely feeling anxious or down, and you try to plaster over it with a forced mantra like, "I am a beacon of sunshine and joy," your brain calls foul. Feels inauthentic. It's like trying to put a small bandage on a broken leg. You're not addressing the underlying issue. You're just invalidating your own genuine experience, which can make you feel even worse. You're essentially starting a shouting match with the heckler, and that heckler has a lot more stamina than you do because negativity is fueled by fear, and fear is a powerful primitive energy source. So what do? We don't try to outshout the heckler. We don't try to kick him out of the theater. We can't. Instead, we learn to turn down the volume on his microphone. We learn to see him not as the star of the show, but as a misguided, repetitive background character. And we do this with a simple 3-step process. Think of it as mental martial arts. We're not meeting force with force. We're using the heckler's own momentum against him. The process is name it, frame it, reclaim it. First, name it. The moment you catch that familiar spiral of negative self-talk, you simply and calmly label it. You don't engage with the content. You identify the pattern. Instead of getting tangled in the weeds of, "I'm such a failure," you take one step back and observe, there's the "I'm not good enough" story. Or, okay, the heckler is doing his catastrophe bit again. By naming it, you create a sliver of space between you, the conscious observer, and the thought itself. You're shifting from being in the movie to being in the audience watching it. This single act is revolutionary. A thought, once observed, loses its absolute power. It's no longer an undeniable truth. It's just a mental event. A cloud passing in the sky. A car driving by. It's just a thought. Let's say you have a big presentation at work tomorrow. The heckler starts up. "You're going to bomb this. You're not prepared. Everyone will see you're a fraud." The old you would have wrestled with that, arguing, panicking, losing sleep. The new you simply says, internally, "Noted." That's the imposter syndrome track playing. See the difference? No fight. No drama. Just acknowledgement. Second, frame it. After you've named the thought, you gently question its credentials. You become a curious, compassionate detective. You're not cross-examining the thought. You're just checking its sources. Ask yourself a few simple questions. One of the most powerful is this thought actually helpful? Is this monologue about you being a fraud motivating you to prepare better? Or is it just paralyzing you with anxiety? 99% of the time, the heckler's commentary is profoundly unhelpful. Another great question: where is the evidence for this? The heckler deals in sweeping generalizations, not facts. So the thought is, "I'm going to bomb this presentation." Where's the concrete evidence for that? Have you bombed every other presentation you've ever given? Unlikely. Did you do the research? Yes. Do you know the material? Yes. The evidence likely points to you being reasonably prepared, even if you're nervous. And a third killer question: what would I say to a friend if they said this about themselves? We are often vicious to ourselves in a way we would never be to someone we care about. If your best friend came to you with this exact fear, you wouldn't say, "Yeah, you're right, you're probably going to be a disaster." You'd say, "That's just the nerves talking. You've got this. You know your stuff." Framing it this way exposes the ridiculous double standard we hold ourselves to and injects a dose of much-needed compassion. Finally, step 3, reclaim it. This isn't about replacing a negative thought with an overly positive one. It's about finding a more balanced, realistic, and useful thought. It's about choosing your own inner dialogue, rather than defaulting to the heckler's script. You've named the thought, imposter syndrome track, and framed it. It's not helpful, and the evidence doesn't support it. Now you reclaim the narrative. So the original thought was, "You're going to bomb this. Everyone will see you're a fraud." A reclaimed thought isn't, "I am going to be the greatest presenter in world history." That's not believable. A reclaimed thought is something like this: "I'm feeling nervous about this presentation, which is normal because it's important to me. I've prepared as well as I can, and I'm capable of handling this. I'm going to focus on delivering value and connecting with the audience. That thought is balanced. It acknowledges the nervousness, it doesn't deny it, but it also affirms your preparation and your capability. It's not a fantasy, it's a strategy. It's a statement of quiet confidence and realistic intention. Name it, frame it, reclaim it. This isn't a magic pill. It's a workout. The first time you do it, it will feel clunky. The heckler's voice will still seem loud. But just like lifting weights, every single repetition builds strength. Every time you catch a negative thought, name it, frame it, and reclaim it, you are physically rewiring your brain. You are carving a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain that there's a different, more constructive way to respond to stress. Over time, the new path becomes wider, smoother, and more automatic. The heckler's voice begins to fade, not because you've defeated him in a fight, but because you've simply stopped giving him the microphone. You've stopped making him the star of your show. By mastering this internal conversation, you are taking back the controls of your own reality. You realize that while you can't control the first thought that pops into your head, you have absolute power over the second one and the one after that. This is the foundation of mental resilience. But our thoughts, as powerful as they are, don't exist in a vacuum. They are intimately, inextricably linked to our emotions. They generate feelings, anxiety, excitement, sadness, joy. And sometimes those feelings can become so overwhelming that they feel like a tidal wave, threatening to pull us under, no matter how well we've managed our thoughts. Learning to navigate these powerful emotional currents is our next great challenge. It's where we move from being the architect of our mind to being the calm captain of our own heart. And this is where so many of us get lost at sea. Because for a long time, the American ideal was to be the stoic, unshakable figure. The John Wayne, the Clint Eastwood. The person who feels things, sure, but never ever lets them show. We were taught that emotions were a sign of weakness. That anger was unprofessional, sadness was a burden, and anxiety was something you just had to get over. We learned to put on a brave face, to answer "I'm fine" when we were anything but, and to push it all down. We became experts at building dams to hold back the flood. But here's the thing about dams. They require constant, exhausting maintenance. And eventually, under enough pressure, they break. And when they do, the flood is 1,000 times more destructive than if the river had just been allowed to flow in the first place. This is the emotional debt so many of us are carrying. We've suppressed and ignored our feelings for so long that we don't even know what to do with them anymore. They feel alien, dangerous, and overwhelming. Think about it like this. Imagine you're driving a car, and the check engine light comes on. What's the logical thing to do? You check the engine. You figure out what the light is trying to tell you. But what we do with our emotions is the equivalent of putting a piece of black tape over the light and pretending it's not there. The light is still on. The problem is still there. And now you're just driving blind, waiting for the inevitable breakdown on the side of the highway. Our emotions are not the enemy. They are data. They are our internal guidance system, our biological check engine light, telling us something about our world needs our attention. Anger isn't just rage. It's a signal that a boundary has been crossed. Sadness isn't just despair. It's a signal that we've experienced a loss and need to heal. Anxiety isn't just irrational fear. It's a signal that we're perceiving a future threat and need to prepare or seek safety. When we ignore these signals, we don't make them go away. We just let the underlying problem get worse. Let me tell you about a guy named Dave. Dave was the classic American success story. Great job in finance, beautiful family, nice house in the suburbs. And Dave was a master of suppression. Stress from work? He'd just work harder, stay later. Frustration with his commute? He'd just turn the radio up louder. A quiet sadness that would creep in on Sunday nights? He'd dismiss it as just the Sunday scaries and pour himself a drink. He was the calm, collected guy everyone relied on. But inside, that pressure cooker was hissing. One evening, he was trying to help his 8-year-old daughter with her math homework. She wasn't getting it. She was getting frustrated, scribbling on the paper. And Dave just snapped. He yelled. Not just a little bit, but a deep guttural roar that came from a place he didn't recognize. He saw the shock and then the fear in his daughter's eyes as she shrank away from him. And in that horrifying moment of silence, Dave realized the dam had broken. All the stress from his job, all the unspoken anxieties about money, all the little frustrations he'd taped over for years, came flooding out, all directed at the person he loved most in the world, over a simple math problem. That was his rock bottom. He understood that his attempt to control his emotions by ignoring them had made him lose control completely. He wasn't the calm captain of his heart. He was just a guy who had thrown the ship's compass overboard and was now being tossed around by a storm of his own making. So, how do we start navigating? How do we learn to work with our emotional currents instead of fighting against them? The first step is deceptively simple, but it's revolutionary for those of us taught to ignore everything. It's a technique neuroscientists call name it to tame it. When you feel a powerful, overwhelming emotion rising up, the first instinct is to push it away or get swept up in it. Instead, just for a moment, be a scientist. Observe it and give it a name. Not just, I feel bad. Get specific. Is it disappointment? Is it frustration? Is it envy? Is it loneliness? Is it dread? Saying to yourself, okay, what I'm feeling right now is a deep sense of betrayal. Or, this feeling in my chest is helplessness. Does something incredible in your brain. It takes that chaotic, primitive emotional reaction happening in your limbic system and engages your prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational part of your mind. You're moving from being in the storm to observing the storm. The simple act of labeling the emotion gives you a sliver of distance, a moment of space between the feeling and your reaction to it. And in that space, you regain your power to choose what happens next. Once you've named it, the next step is to understand its natural lifespan. This is perhaps one of the most empowering pieces of information you will ever learn about your own biology. Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, a Harvard-trained neuroanatomist, discovered that when an emotion is triggered, the chemical cascade that happens in your body, the adrenaline rush, the tightening in your chest, the flush of heat, runs its entire course in about 90 seconds. That's it. A minute and a half. Think about that. The pure, physical, involuntary response of an emotion lasts only 90 seconds. So what about that anger that ruins your entire day? Or that anxiety that lasts for weeks? That, my friends, is not the original emotion. That is the result of us re-triggering the emotional loop with our thoughts. We have the initial 90-second reaction, and then our brain kicks in with the story. I can't believe he said that to me. Who does he think he is? I'm going to show him. And boom, you've just re-stimulated the anger circuit. Another 90 seconds. Then you do it again. And again. We keep the feeling alive by feeding it with our thoughts, replaying the event, and rehearsing our grievance. Knowing the 90-second rule is like being handed a secret key. When you feel that wave of emotion, you can name it and then you can watch it. You can say to yourself, okay, this is the 90-second chemical reaction. I'm just going to breathe and let it move through me without feeding it a story. You can ride that wave, knowing it will naturally subside instead of trying to fight it and getting pulled under. It's the ultimate form of taking your power back. You let the physiological data pass through you, and then you get to decide what to do with the information it gave you, without being a slave to the initial chemical reaction. So you've named it, you've allowed the initial wave to pass, what now? The final piece is constructive expression. The energy of that emotion has to go somewhere. If you just bottle it up after naming it, you're back to building the dam. Constructive expression means finding a healthy outlet that matches the emotion's energy. If you're feeling angry, that's a high-energy emotion that signals a boundary was crossed. It needs a physical release. This doesn't mean punching a wall. It means doing something that honors that energy. Go for a hard run. Do a high-intensity workout. Put on some loud music and clean your house with a vengeance. The energy is released, and then you can address the boundary issue with a clear head. If you're feeling sad, that's a lower-energy emotion that signals loss. It doesn't need a physical release. It needs connection and processing. This is where journaling, talking to a trusted friend, listening to music that matches your mood, or even allowing yourself a good cry can be incredibly healing. It's about gently processing the loss, not trying to get over it. If you're anxious, that's a scattered, future-focused energy. It needs grounding. It needs to be brought back to the present moment. This is where practices like deep, slow breathing, a mindful walk where you focus on your 5 senses, or tackling one small manageable task on your to-do list can channel that scattered energy into focused action and bring you back to the now. This isn't about eliminating emotions. It's about becoming emotionally fluent. It's the difference between a child banging randomly on a piano and a musician who understands how to combine the notes to create beautiful music. Your emotions are the notes. By learning to name them, understand their rhythm, and express them constructively, you stop being a victim of the noise and start becoming the composer of your own life. You become the calm captain, using the winds and the currents not as forces to fight, but as forces to guide you. But even with this newfound emotional clarity, our actions can still betray us. We can fall back into old, destructive habits that sabotage our mental wellness, even when our thoughts and emotions are in a better place. Breaking these patterns and intentionally building new, life-giving behaviors is the next crucial piece of the puzzle. It's where we turn insight into real, tangible change. And this is where the rubber truly meets the road. Because insight without action is like having a map to a hidden treasure, but never taking the first step out your front door. You can study that map for years, know every landmark, every turn, but you'll still be sitting in your living room, no closer to the gold. For too many of us, that's what our mental health journey looks like. We understand the why we feel anxious, why we procrastinate, why we isolate, but we're stuck on the how. How do we actually change? The answer lies in a powerful, almost counterintuitive principle. We often believe we need to feel good to do things. We wait for motivation to strike like lightning before we go to the gym, apply for that job, or call that friend. But the science of human behavior, particularly a strategy called behavioral activation, shows us that we have it completely backward. Action doesn't just follow motivation. Action creates motivation. You don't have to feel like it. You just have to do it. Think of it like a rusty flywheel. Getting it to move takes a huge, deliberate push. It's stiff, it groans, it resists. That's you on a low day trying to get out of bed. Your brain is screaming, "Stay here. It's safe. It's comfortable." But once you give it that first intentional push, just putting your feet on the floor, the next push is a tiny bit easier. And the next one easier still. Soon the momentum builds and the flywheel starts spinning with less and less effort. Your behavior is that initial push. It's the spark that ignites the engine of your mood. When we feel depressed or anxious, our world shrinks. Our list of life-giving activities gets smaller and smaller. We stop hiking, we stop seeing friends, we stop cooking meals we enjoy. We replace them with low-effort, numbing behaviors, endless scrolling, binge-watching, staying in bed. This creates a feedback loop from hell. We feel bad, so we do less. We do less, so we have fewer positive experiences. We have fewer positive experiences, so we feel even worse. To break this cycle, we have to intentionally reintroduce positive, meaningful behaviors even and especially when we don't feel like it. But here's the key. Can't just be any random action. Telling someone who is deeply depressed to just go have fun is like telling someone who's broke to just go make money. It's useless advice because it ignores the massive internal barriers. The secret is to start absurdly small and to connect those small actions to what you truly care about. First, you need a compass. Before you take a single step, you have to know what direction you want to go. These are your core values. Not goals like lose 10 pounds, but values like health. Not get a promotion, but mastery or contribution. Take a moment and think about it. What truly matters to you? Is it connection with others? Creativity? Learning? Physical vitality? Adventure? Write them down. These are your North Stars. They give your actions a purpose, a reason to push that heavy flywheel. Now, for each value, we're going to create what I call a minimum viable action. This is the absolute smallest, easiest possible step you can take that aligns with that value. The goal is to make it so easy that it's almost impossible to say no to. Let's say one of your values is connection. The overwhelming thought might be, I need to be more social, which leads to the pressure of planning a big dinner or going to a party. Forget that. The minimum viable action could be sending a one-sentence text to a single friend. That's it. Not a conversation, not a plan. Just a text that says, hey, thinking of you. If your value is health, the big scary goal is, I need to work out. The minimum viable action? Put on your running shoes and stand outside your front door for 1 minute. You don't even have to run. Just put on the shoes and stand there. If your value is creativity, don't think about writing a novel or painting a masterpiece. The minimum viable action is to open a notebook and write one single sentence, or to sketch one single shape. Do you see the pattern? We are lowering the bar for entry so low that your resistance doesn't have time to kick in. The brain's excuse-making machine, I'm too tired, I don't have time. It won't make a difference. Can't fight something that takes 30 seconds. Now build yourself an action menu. On a piece of paper or a note on your phone, list your values. Under each value, write down 3 to 5 of these minimum viable actions. This is your toolkit for the bad days. When you're feeling low, when you're stuck in that fog of indecision and lethargy, you don't have to think. You don't have to invent a solution. You just look at your menu and pick one. Anyone. Let's imagine it in practice. You're having a rough morning. The thought of facing the day is overwhelming. You feel the pull to just stay in bed and scroll on your phone. But instead you glance at your action menu. Under health, it says, drink 1 glass of water. You can do that. So you get up, you drink the water. You've just made one tiny push on that flywheel. You've cast one vote for the person you want to be. Then you look at the menu again. Under order or environment, it says, put 1 dish in the dishwasher. You do it. Another push. Another vote. Under learning, it says, listen to 5 minutes of a podcast. You put one on while you make coffee. Push. Vote. None of these actions have magically cured you, but you fundamentally changed the trajectory of your morning. You have interrupted the downward spiral. You have proven to yourself through action that you are not entirely powerless. You have generated behavioral evidence that contradicts the feeling of hopelessness. And that evidence, those little breadcrumbs of accomplishment, begin to change how you feel. The feeling follows the action. This is the antidote to waiting for inspiration. It's about building a system that works even when your feelings don't. It requires you to treat your feelings not as commands, but as suggestions, often very bad suggestions. Your anxious mind will suggest you stay inside. Your depressed mind will suggest you do nothing. Your job is to thank them for the suggestion, and then respectfully do the opposite. To look at your menu and choose one small, value-aligned action. This isn't about grand gestures. It's not about a total life overhaul in one weekend. It's about the quiet, unglamorous, consistent practice of taking the next smallest step. It's about trusting that these tiny pushes, compounded over time, will get that flywheel of your life spinning faster and more freely than you ever thought possible. It's about building a life one small action at a time that feels so rich and meaningful, the old patterns of despair simply have less room to exist. But our personal behaviors are only one part of the equation. We're not islands. The world around us, our homes, our phones, our communities, is constantly shaping our thoughts and actions, either pushing our flywheel forward or dragging it to a halt. Architecting our environment to support our wellness, instead of sabotaging it, is the next critical layer we need to build. Think of your mind as a plant. You can have the best seed in the world, genetically predisposed for strength and resilience. But if you plant it in toxic soil, under a sky that's always dark, and water it with poison, it doesn't stand a chance. It will wither. Our environment is the soil, the sun, and the water for our mental health. And for most of us, without realizing it, we're living in a poorly designed garden. The modern American environment, by default, is not set up for your peace of mind. It's designed for consumption. It's engineered for distraction. Your phone buzzes not to make you happier, but to pull you back into an app so it can sell your attention. The 24-hour news cycle churns out anxiety, not to keep you informed, but to keep you glued to the screen. The layout of the grocery store puts the sugary, processed foods at eye level, not because they're good for you, but because they have the highest profit margins. We are swimming against a powerful current, and simply trying to think positive, without changing the environment that's causing the negativity, is like trying to swim up a waterfall. It's exhausting and ultimately it's a losing battle. But here's the empowering truth. You are the architect. You have the power to redesign your world. You can't control the entire ocean, but you can build a very strong boat. This process starts by understanding the 3 core environments you inhabit every single day: your physical space, your digital world, and your social circle. Let's start with the most tangible: your physical environment. Your home, your car, your desk at work. For years, I treated my workspace like a chaotic battlefield. Piles of paper, old coffee mugs, tangled cords. I told myself it was the sign of a creative, busy mind. But in reality, it was a constant, low-grade source of stress. Every glance at the mess was a tiny signal to my brain. Things are out of control. You are behind. This is chaotic. It was a quiet hum of anxiety that I had just gotten used to. Then I learned about the concept of friction. Casinos are masters of this. They remove all friction to gambling. The drinks are free, the chairs are comfortable. There are no clocks on the wall. They make the desired behavior, gambling, as easy as possible. We can reverse engineer this for our well-being. Look at your environment and ask, what positive behaviors do I want to encourage, and what negative ones do I want to discourage? Want to drink more water? Stop hiding a glass in the cupboard. Buy a beautiful, large water bottle and put it right in the middle of your desk. You've just removed the friction. Want to stop mindlessly snacking on chips? Don't rely on willpower. Put the chips on the highest shelf in the pantry behind the canned beans. You've just added friction. Want to read before bed instead of scrolling on your phone? Don't leave your phone on the nightstand. Leave it charging across the room and put a book in its place. Willpower is a finite resource that gets depleted throughout the day. Your environment works 24/7. Design it to make the right choices the easy choices. This isn't about a massive, minimalist overhaul. It's about small, strategic tweaks. Make your bed every morning. It's a tiny act of order that sends a message to your brain. I am in control. I start my day with intention. This one small win creates a ripple effect. A clear space leads to a clearer mind. Now let's talk about the environment that's even more pervasive. Your digital world. Your smartphone is not a neutral tool. It is a slot machine in your pocket. The world's most brilliant psychologists and engineers at multi-trillion-dollar companies have designed it to hijack your brain's reward system. The infinite scroll, the red notification bubbles, the like button. These are not features for your benefit. They are features to trigger dopamine hits, keeping you hooked and scrolling, just like a gambler pulling a lever, hoping for a jackpot. Acknowledging this isn't a sign of weakness. It's the first step to reclaiming your focus and your sanity. You must become a ruthless curator of your digital space. The first step is a notification audit. Go into your settings and turn off every single notification that is not from a human being you actually know. That buzz from your news app? It's a shot of cortisol. That pop-up from a shopping app? It's a manufactured sense of urgency. Each notification is a tiny tear in the fabric of your attention, pulling you out of the present moment and into a state of reactive anxiety. Protect your focus like it's the most valuable resource you have, because it is. Next, curate your feeds. Your social media feed is either a source of inspiration or a source of poison. There is no in-between. Unfollow every account that makes you feel envious, angry, or less than. Be ruthless. You don't owe anyone your attention. Instead, intentionally follow accounts that teach you something, make you laugh, or show you the beauty in the world. Turn your feed from a garbage fire of outrage and comparison into a curated gallery of your highest aspirations. Create friction for time-wasting apps by moving them off your home screen and into a folder. And if you're really brave, try the grayscale trick. Go into your accessibility settings and turn your phone screen to grayscale. The world behind the glass instantly becomes dull and unappealing. The vibrant red notification loses its power. The colorful app icons no longer scream for your attention. You break the slot machine. Finally, we have to architect the most influential environment of all, your social environment. The people you surround yourself with. Leadership expert Jim Rohn famously said that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's neurological reality. Our brains have something called mirror neurons. We subconsciously mirror the emotions, attitudes, and even the speech patterns of those around us. If you hang around cynical, complaining people, your brain will start to build cynical, complaining pathways. If you surround yourself with supportive, ambitious, and kind people, you will literally start to become more like them. This doesn't mean you have to cut off every friend who's having a tough time. It's about conducting an energy audit. After you spend time with someone, how do you feel? Energized, seen, and inspired? Or drained, anxious, and small? Your social energy is a budget. You only have so much to spend. You have to decide if you're investing it in relationships that provide a positive return or squandering it on emotional vampires who drain you dry. This is where boundaries become your greatest tool. A boundary isn't a wall you build to keep people out. It's a line you draw in the sand that teaches people how to treat you. It's saying, I love you, but I can't be your therapist for this issue. It's saying, I'm happy to help, but I can't do it at the expense of my own well-being. It's learning to say no without guilt, so you can say yes to the things that truly matter. At the same time, you must be proactive. It's not just about pruning the negative. It's about actively cultivating the positive. Join a hiking group. Take a pottery class. Volunteer for a cause you believe in. Go to places where the people you want to be like already are. Find your tribe. Your community is the ecosystem where your mental health will either thrive or struggle to survive. By intentionally designing your physical, digital, and social environments, you stop fighting a battle against your own world. You create a tailwind instead of a headwind. You make your environment work for you, not against you. You build a sanctuary that protects your peace, a launchpad that propels your growth, and a community that reflects your highest values. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a continuous act of creation. It's the daily practice of deciding what you allow into your life and what you don't. And this carefully constructed environment becomes the perfect fertile ground for the most powerful force of all in our wellness journey, the small automatic habits that will truly set us free. Because when we think about changing our lives, our American mindset often defaults to the grand gesture, the dramatic overhaul, the New Year's resolution that involves waking up at 4 a.m., running a marathon, learning a new language, and starting a business, all at once. We tell ourselves we need a lightning bolt of motivation, a seismic shift in willpower. But what if the real secret to lasting change, to unshakable mental wellness, isn't a lightning bolt at all? What if it's more like the gentle, persistent, unstoppable force of flowing water? Think about it. We've all been there. We get a surge of inspiration, we buy the gym membership, the expensive running shoes, the stack of self-help books. For 3 days, maybe a week, we are unstoppable. And then life happens. We have a long day at work. The kids get sick. We're just tired. We miss one day, then two. And soon, the running shoes are gathering dust, and the gym membership is just another automatic withdrawal from our bank account, a monthly reminder of our failure. The problem isn't our ambition. The problem is our approach. We try to rely on motivation, but motivation is a fickle friend. Comes and goes like the weather. Willpower is a muscle, and just like any muscle, it gets fatigued. You can't sprint a marathon. The real engine of long-term success, the thing that works even when you're tired, uninspired, and just don't feel like it, is the automatic habit. Habits are, quite simply, behaviors that have been repeated enough times to become automatic. They are mental shortcuts our brain creates to save energy. Every habit, good or bad, follows the same simple neurological loop. A cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. The cue is the trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode. The craving is the motivational force, the desire for a change in state. The response is the actual habit you perform. And the reward is the end goal, which satisfies the craving and teaches your brain that this loop is worth remembering for the future. This is happening to you hundreds of times a day without you even realizing it. The buzz of your phone in your pocket? That's a cue. The craving for a little hit of dopamine to see who liked your photo or sent you a message. That's the craving. Picking up the phone and opening an app? The response. The momentary distraction and social validation? The reward. And just like that, the loop is reinforced. So, if our brains are already hardwired to build these loops, why not hijack the system for our own good? Why not intentionally design tiny, positive loops that build towards the person we want to become? This is where the magic happens. We stop trying to build a mountain and instead focus on moving a single stone every single day. The first and most powerful technique is called habit stacking. You don't need to find new time or new motivation. You simply link the new habit you want to form with the habit you already do every single day without thinking. Your current habits are already built into your brain, they are strong, established neural pathways. All you have to do is attach a new, tiny behavior to them. The formula is simple. After current habit, I will new habit. Not, I will meditate for 20 minutes every day. That's too big. That's a mountain. Instead, try, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will sit and take 3 deep breaths. Pouring the coffee is the cue. The new habit is the 3 deep breaths. It's so small, so laughably easy that you can't say no. You're already there, you're already doing something. What's 3 breaths? It takes 10 seconds. But here's what happens, you do it tomorrow. And the next day. And the day after that. You are casting a vote for a new identity. You are becoming the type of person who starts their day with mindfulness. Let's try a few more. Instead of, I'm going to start journaling to process my anxiety, try, after I brush my teeth at night, I will write down 1 sentence about my day. The toothbrush is the cue. 1 sentence is the new habit. You're not trying to write a novel. You're just building the muscle of reflection. Over time, that 1 sentence might become 2 or a whole paragraph, but it starts with 1. Instead of, I need to get in shape for my mental health, try, after I take my work shoes off, I will immediately put on my walking shoes. You don't even have to go for a walk yet. The goal is just to master the art of showing up. You are making the first step of the process automatic. Eventually, opening the door and walking to the end of the driveway will feel like the natural next step. This leads to the second rule, make it easy. In fact, make it take less than 2 minutes. Every new habit should be scaled down to a 2-minute version. Read a book every day becomes read 1 page. Do yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Clean the kitchen becomes put 1 dish in the dishwasher. The point of the 2-minute rule isn't just about the results you get in those 2 minutes. The point is to master the habit of showing up. A habit must be established before it can be improved. You have to standardize before you can optimize. By making it so easy that you can't say no, you remove the friction, the negotiation your brain goes through where it weighs the effort against the reward. You just do it. And in doing it, you reinforce that new identity. You're not trying to read a book. You're becoming a reader. You're not trying to meditate. You're becoming a meditator. The action itself is a small vote for the person you want to be. I once worked with a client, let's call him David. David was drowning in stress. His job was demanding, his home life was chaotic, and he felt like he was constantly running on a hamster wheel, fueled by caffeine and anxiety. He knew he needed to exercise. Everyone told him so. His doctor, his wife, his own conscience. He tried everything. He'd signed up for a half marathon, bought a Peloton, committed to 6 a.m. boot camp classes. Each time he'd last a week or two before crashing and burning, feeling even worse about himself than when he started. We threw all of that out. I asked him to commit to one thing. After he got home from work and parked his car, I wanted him to simply get out of the car, walk to his front door, and then turn around and walk back to his car and touch it. That was it. The whole thing took 30 seconds. He thought it was ridiculous, but he agreed. He did it every day for a week. The next week, I asked him to walk to the end of his driveway and back. The week after, to the end of the block. He never missed a day because the starting ritual was so absurdly simple it was harder to not do it. Within 3 months, David was walking for 30 minutes every evening after work. It became his sacred time to decompress. He didn't listen to podcasts or music. He just walked and breathed. A year later, he was running 3 times a week. Not because he forced himself, but because he had slowly, vote by vote, built the identity of a person who moves their body to clear their mind. He didn't conquer a mountain in one heroic leap. He simply took one small step and then another and then another. This is the path. And on this path, you will inevitably stumble. You'll have a day where you forget, or you're too busy, or you just don't do it. This is not failure. It is data. The most important rule of all is this: never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. It happens. Life is unpredictable. But missing twice is the start of a new negative habit. The streak is broken. The momentum is lost. If you miss your 3 deep breaths after your coffee one morning, make a commitment to yourself that you will absolutely, under no circumstances, miss it the next day. This principle prevents a single slip-up from spiraling into a total abandonment of your goals. It gives you a simple, clear system for getting back on track immediately. Because each of these tiny habits, these 2-minute actions, these single votes for a better identity, they might seem insignificant on their own. They are. 1 walk won't make you fit. 1 minute of meditation won't bring you enlightenment. 1 sentence in a journal won't solve your problems. But their power isn't in a single day. Their power is in the compound effect over time. If you get just 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. It's the same way money compounds in a bank account, or how a snowball rolling down a hill picks up more snow and gets bigger and bigger. These small, daily improvements are the financial investments you make in your future mental wellness. We've now designed the environment around us to support our goals, and we've started installing the tiny, automatic habits that will carry us forward, even when motivation fails. We are adding positive, powerful inputs into our system. But that's only half of the equation, because true wellness isn't just about what we add to our lives. It's also about what we have the wisdom and the courage to subtract. This is the art of strategic subtraction. Think of your life, your mind as a garden. For the past few parts of our journey, we've been focused on planting seeds. We've been adding rich soil, sunlight, and water. Exercise, mindfulness, positive habits, a sense of purpose. But any gardener will tell you that's only half the job. If you let the weeds run wild, they will choke out the most beautiful flowers. They will steal the water, block the sun, and drain the soil of its nutrients. No matter how many good seeds you plant, a garden overrun with weeds cannot thrive. Our mental and emotional lives are exactly the same. We live in a culture of addition. More friends, more followers, more information, more opportunities, more stuff. We're told that success is accumulation. But true well-being, true mental clarity, often comes not from what we gain, but from what we prune away. It's an act of courage. It's an act of wisdom. It's the essential, non-negotiable step of weeding the garden. So where do we start? We start with the most invasive species in the 21st century garden: digital overload. Our phones, our laptops, our endless feeds. They were designed to connect us, but they've become the primary source of our disconnection. From ourselves, from our loved ones, from the present moment. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly bored? When you just sat and let your mind wander without reaching for a screen. That boredom is not a void to be filled. It's the fertile soil where creativity, self-reflection, and genuine ideas are born. We've replaced it with a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety, comparison, and outrage. The first act of subtraction is to consciously curate your digital diet. This isn't about becoming a Luddite and throwing your phone in a river. It's about becoming the master of your technology, not its servant. Unfollow accounts that make you feel envious, angry, or less than. You know the ones. The ones you scroll past and feel a little pit in your stomach. It's not their fault. It's the algorithm's fault for feeding you curated perfection. But it is your responsibility to say, "Not in my garden." Mute the political pundit who only serves to raise your blood pressure. Leave the group chat that's 90% complaining. Turn off the endless notifications that are scientifically engineered to hijack your attention. Each time you do this, you are pulling a weed. You are reclaiming a little patch of mental soil. You are creating silence. And in that silence, you can finally begin to hear your own voice again. The goal isn't to be uninformed. It's to be intentionally informed. Choose 1 or 2 trusted sources for news. Check them once or twice a day, and then let it go. The 24-hour news cycle is a fire hose of cortisol, and you are not obligated to stand in front of it all day long. Subtract the noise to hear the signal. Now for the next and often more difficult layer of weeding, relational subtraction. This one is tough, as these weeds can look a lot like flowers. We're talking about the relationships in your life that consistently drain more energy than they give. The friend who only calls to complain, using you as an emotional dumping ground without ever asking how you are. The family member whose every comment is a passive-aggressive critique. The social obligation you dread for weeks, that leaves you feeling exhausted and hollowed out. In American culture, we're often taught that ending or distancing from a relationship is a form of failure. We're supposed to be loyal to stick it out. But loyalty to others cannot come at the cost of loyalty to yourself. Your social energy is a finite resource just like your time and money. You must invest it wisely. This doesn't mean you have to stage a dramatic confrontation and cut people out of your life with a scorched earth policy. Subtraction can be subtle. It can mean not answering the phone every single time that draining friend calls. It can mean responding to a text an hour later, instead of instantly. It can mean politely declining that invitation, saying, "I wish I could, but I can't make it work." It's about creating boundaries. A boundary is not a wall you build to keep people out. It's a fence you build to protect the garden you're so carefully tending. It's you telling the world, "This space right here is sacred. This is where I grow. And I will not allow anything that harms that growth to take root here." The people who respect your fence are the ones who deserve to be invited into your garden. The ones who try to climb it or knock it down are showing you exactly why the fence was necessary in the first place. By subtracting these draining interactions, you create a vacuum. And that vacuum will be filled. It will be filled with more time and energy for the relationships that nourish you. The ones that feel like sunshine and clean water. It will be filled with more time for yourself, for your hobbies, for your peace. But the most profound act of subtraction happens on an even deeper level. It's not about weeding the digital world or even our social circles. It's about weeding our own minds. We all have them, limiting beliefs. The old dusty stories we tell ourselves about who we are. They're the most stubborn weeds of all because we planted them ourselves, or we allowed someone else to plant them so long ago that we mistake them for the truth. The weed of, "I'm not good enough." The weed of, "I'll never be as successful as them." The weed of, "I don't deserve to be happy." The weed of, "I have to be perfect to be loved." These mental weeds wrap their roots around our potential and choke it before it ever has a chance to blossom. You can have the perfect morning routine, a supportive circle of friends, and a curated digital life. But if you are still watering these weeds inside your own head, you will never feel whole. So how do you subtract a thought? How do you pull a weed that lives in your own mind? You start by noticing it. You practice the mindfulness we've talked about. When that negative thought pops up, you don't fight it. You don't wrestle with it. You simply label it. "Ah, there's that not good enough story again." You see it for what it is. Not a fact, but a weed. A remnant of an old story. Then, you gently and consistently stop watering it. You stop feeding it with evidence. When you accomplish something, you don't let the weed whisper, "It was just luck." You consciously acknowledge your effort. You subtract its power by refusing to believe its narrative. You replace it. You plant a new thought in its place. "I am capable. I am learning. I am worthy of my own respect. This is the hardest work there is. It's a moment-by-moment, day-by-day process of choosing which thoughts to cultivate and which to let wither. But every time you do it, you reclaim a piece of your own mind. You are taking back control of your internal landscape. Subtraction is not about deprivation. It's not about scarcity. It is the opposite. It is an act of creating abundance. By removing the digital clutter, the relational drains, and the mental weeds, you are not creating an empty life. You are creating space. Space for joy to grow. Space for peace to settle. Space for your true self, the person you are beneath all the noise, all the obligations, and all the limiting beliefs to finally emerge. You are the sculptor, chipping away the excess stone to reveal the masterpiece that was there all along. We have now added the powerful habits and routines that build us up, and we have learned to subtract the toxic inputs that tear us down. We've cleared the ground. We've planted the seeds. We've pulled the weeds. The garden is prepared. It's healthy, it's vibrant, and it's full of potential. But how do we ensure that it doesn't just thrive for a season but for a lifetime? How do we integrate all of this into a single cohesive philosophy that makes wellness our default setting, not a constant struggle? It all comes down to one final foundational shift in perspective, the master key that unlocks everything else we've talked about and ensures this garden continues to grow year after year. This master key, this foundational shift, is moving from a mindset of self-improvement to one of profound self-acceptance. Now hold on. I know that for many of us, especially in a culture that celebrates the grind, the hustle, the relentless pursuit of better, the phrase self-acceptance can sound like giving up. It can sound like resignation, like settling for less than you're capable of. But that is a fundamental misunderstanding of one of the most powerful forces for change you can possibly harness. For decades, we've been sold a specific model of wellness. It's the self-improvement model. It looks at you, at me, at all of us, and it sees a project, a fixer-upper. It hands you a blueprint of the ideal you. Happier, thinner, richer, more productive, more disciplined, and says, get to work. Here are the 100 things you're doing wrong. Fix them. And so we go to war with ourselves. We declare a battle against our anxiety, an insurgency against our procrastination, a full frontal assault on our perceived flaws. We treat our minds and bodies like broken down cars, constantly trying to replace faulty parts. And we wonder why it feels so exhausting. We wonder why, even when we make progress, we just find a new flaw to obsess over. It's because the very foundation of this model is the belief that you, as you are right now, are not enough. It's a game you can never win, because the finish line is always moving. The constant struggle isn't a side effect of the journey. It's the core feature of the self-improvement treadmill. Self-acceptance is the master key because it quietly walks over, unplugs that treadmill, and invites you to simply stand on solid ground. It is not about saying, I'm anxious and I'm just going to be anxious forever. That's resignation. Self-acceptance is about saying, anxiety is present right now. Feel it. I acknowledge it. It is a part of my current experience, and I am not a bad person for it. It's the difference between looking at a garden full of weeds and screaming at the dirt, versus looking at the garden, acknowledging the weeds, and gently beginning to tend to the soil. You don't hate the garden. You see its potential and you start from where it is, not from where you wish it was. This one shift changes everything. Suddenly, all those small steps we've talked about are transformed. A 5-minute walk is no longer a pathetic failure to run a marathon. It becomes an act of radical kindness. It's you saying to your body, I know we're tired, but let's give ourselves the gift of fresh air, just for a moment. Journaling for 2 minutes isn't a weak attempt at writing a novel. It's a moment of honoring your own thoughts, of giving them a space to exist without judgment. Setting one small boundary isn't a sign of weakness. It's a powerful declaration that you are worthy of being protected, starting right here, right now. Think about the environment we discussed. The self-improvement model tells you to be tougher, to develop thicker skin, to just power through a toxic workplace or a draining social circle. Puts all the burden on you to change. The self-acceptance model allows you to say, this environment is not nourishing for me. It is not a personal failure that I am wilting here. I am like a plant that needs different sunlight, and I deserve to find a place where I can grow. The action, changing your environment, might be the same, but one is fueled by self-blame, the other by self-compassion. And that fuel source determines whether the journey is a grueling march or a hopeful exploration. This is the American paradox, isn't it? We are a nation built on the idea of reinvention, of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We are the children of pioneers and innovators who were never satisfied with the status quo. This drive is in our cultural DNA. It built skyscrapers and put a man on the moon. But when we turn that relentless, critical industrial-grade drive inward, onto the delicate ecosystem of our own minds, it can be devastating. We treat our own humanity like an inefficiency to be optimized. We see our emotions as bugs in the code. We believe that if we just work hard enough, we can achieve a permanent, unshakable state of happiness. And we feel like a failure every single time we fall short. The great secret is that true, lasting growth does not sprout from the soil of self-loathing. It can't. You cannot hate yourself into a version of yourself that you love. It is a logical impossibility. All that frantic chipping away at your perceived flaws, all that desperate striving born from a place of not enoughness, it doesn't build a strong foundation, just creates cracks. The most profound, sustainable, and powerful growth emerges from the rich, fertile ground of self-acceptance. Imagine a master sculptor standing before a giant block of marble. A novice looks at the block and sees all its imperfections. This rock is too jagged here, it's got a weird vein there, it's not the right shape. The novice attacks the stone, trying to force it to become what they want. And more often than not, the marble cracks under the pressure. The master, however, approaches the same block of marble with reverence. They walk around it. They run their hands over its surface. They accept the stone for exactly what it is. Its grain, its texture, its unique character. The master understands that the sculpture is already inside the marble. Their job is not to force a new shape onto it, but to gently and skillfully chip away the excess stone that is hiding the masterpiece within. You are not the novice, frantically trying to fix an ugly rock. You are the masterpiece, and you are also the master sculptor. Your anxiety, your sadness, your past traumas, your insecurities, that is not the real you. That is the excess stone. And your wellness journey is not about hammering yourself into a new shape. It is the gentle, compassionate, and patient act of chipping away what is not you, so that who you truly are can be revealed. The small steps are your chisel. Choosing a healthier meal is chipping away a piece of stone. Getting 10 minutes of sunlight is chipping away a piece of stone. Saying no to something that drains you is chipping away a piece of stone. And you do it not because you hate the stone, but because you love the art that you know is waiting inside. This is the final piece of the puzzle. This is what makes wellness your default setting. When you operate from self-acceptance, you are no longer on a frantic search for a cure. You are engaged in a lifelong practice of care. There is no finish line. There is no final, perfect, well version of you to achieve. There is only this moment, this breath, and the choice in this moment to treat yourself with the kindness and compassion you would offer to someone you deeply, truly loved. So where do you begin? You begin right where you are. With the body you have today, with the mind you have today, with the life you have today. You take one deep breath and you offer yourself a truce. You lay down your arms in that internal war. You stop the fight, and you just begin. You take one small gentle step, not to fix yourself but to honor yourself. Because your journey to mental wellness doesn't start on the day you finally become good enough. It starts in the exact moment you realize you already are.